Ange, Rob and Robbo.
Streaming live across the globe, Angeli Rao, Rob McKnight and David Robinson.
Ange, Rob and Robbo. News, entertainment too. It's the Ange, Rob and Robbo. Ange, Rob and Robbo Show.
Welcome to the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show.
Welcome indeed. It's another big edition of the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show. Robbo, it's not a hard name to say, is it? Ange, Rob and Robbo.
It's very easy. Just try and say, who's the Duchess of Sussex?
I was just going to say
I
that.
can say it now, but I was on the Today Show this morning, or Today Extra, and Sylvia Jeffreys had a bit of a problem with the name of our show. Take a look.
Host of his own
Ange,
show.
Rob and Robbo Show.
Ange, Rob and Robbo Show. Ange, Rob and Robbo Show. Rob McKnight. Hey, Rob, it's great to see you all the way from the beautiful Gold Coast.
She explained, Ange, she saw ANJ on the auto cue and went, I don't know.
No, that's not right.
It completely threw her.
I know, it's one syllable of three letters. I can understand how that would.
Thank God she doesn't get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars every year.
I know.
Don't be like that.
I mean,
she actually said at the end of the segment, I said, and it's the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show, and she said, I actually do watch the show, Rob. She said, I've got baby brain and I just had a freak out. So we'll be forgiving. We love her. We'll have to get her on the show.
All right, I'll
Hi,
forgive you, Sylvia. Essentially, it was my name you stumbled over, but I'll let you have this one, darling. All right?
And it's actually your fault. Sylvia Jeffreys is an amazing person. She's just wonderful. It's your parents' fault. Oh, no, they watch too. No, nothing. Move on. Love your name.
Hey, I tell you what. Everyone will be pleased to know Jason Roses is back and there's a lot happening in the entertainment world. We're very happy about that. Just keep it in your pants, Robbo. And I've got an admission to make. I'm going to show a clip later on of me on Today Extra. I did something today that might have been bad form, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to get the verdict on whether I went too far. All right?
Can we do it now?
No, we'll.
I can't hang on.
Get them to hold on for.
No, yeah. Ange and I have got to go. We can't stick around.
We'll see. This will keep you hanging around. All right. There's plenty coming up, including Bruno Boucher, who's joining us, and he is going to convince us that Scott Morrison deserves more money. Yeah, it sounds too hard to believe, but apparently it's true. In the meantime, let's get into our hot button issues. And it was a tragic day in April last year when a truck swerved into an emergency lane where Richard Pusey had been pulled over for speeding. The accident resulted in the death of 4 police officers. Now Pusey has pled guilty to 3 charges. The country was shocked when Pusey was alleged to be filming the dying officers and making disturbing commentary that he just wanted to go home and eat sushi. The 3 outstanding charges are outraging public decency, reckless conduct endangering serious injury, and drug possession. After pleading not guilty in October, he has now pled guilty to each of these charges. His lawyers are seeking a reduced sentence due to his cooperation and admission of guilt, preventing the matter from dragging on. They want him released from jail by the end of the month. Robbo, he's there, happily watching these police officers die. Does he deserve a reduced sentence?
Absolutely not. What an entitled wanker. That's what this guy is. He filmed them, he taunted them, he wants to go home and have his sushi. This is someone who actually thinks, those things naturally. And then it fits in with the idea that's obviously coming through his lawyers, but no doubt from him as well, that, well, I'm doing a favour for you, so I should be rewarded. What? No, you shouldn't be rewarded. It's one thing for you to have a car crash and things like that. The idea of filming someone on the road dying, then complaining about your sushi that's in the car, what an absolute entitled piece of shit. This guy deserves the maximum penalty. There is no doubt about that. And also, we've got to remember, this was massive. This was the biggest loss of life of Victoria Police in one setting in history. So forget the bushrangers, forget the colonial times. 4 police officers died that day, and he was worried about his sushi roll. What an idiot. No, throw the book at him. He deserves to go in jail. He doesn't deserve any rewards for coming forward and not doing a trial. What an idiot.
The thing is, Ange, at the end of the day, he filmed the whole thing. It's not like the police have a lack of evidence.
Oh, of course, 1,000%, and, look, his lawyer's saying, oh, he should receive a substantial cut in his sentence because he spared the matter from dragging on for years. Wow, what a stand-up guy. I'm sure the families of the police who died that day will feel like, the court should really cut him a break. And the thing is, he did let it drag on. He let it drag on for nearly a year now. And how many court appearances has he had where he could have admitted what he did and what all of us know he did, because it's on video, and then there's the total disdain for the victims. But will he get a lesser sentence? I'm almost positive that he will, because that's just the way that the courts work, so that they can, and the prisons as well. So it's like, churn them in, turf them out as fast as possible. And this isn't to say that
a month, that's what his lawyers want, him to be out within a month. If that happens, there will be outrage. There will be protests in the street.
It is disgusting. I mean, they're putting his life in danger by even trying to fight for that. But that's not to say that I disagree across the board with discounted sentences in order to speed up the conclusion of a case. But this is different. This is a real standout. The guy needs to go down for the maximum time allowed. And, the previous magistrate, because this is a new one, but the previous one on his last bail application said, absolutely not. He is still an unacceptable risk to society. So what's changed? Absolutely zero, except that he's pleaded guilty to avoid more jail time. That's the only thing that's changed.
Yeah.
And he needs to be made an example of, I think, in regards to this filming thing. People have obviously been filming fights at school. It's a big problem. Fights in the street. It seems to be more and more, in lack of another word, fashionable to film things. Well, this is at the pinnacle of that, and it should be struck down. It should be made an example of, and it should just never be allowed to even remotely become as common as, filming a fight. Like, what was the point of this video? He needs to be made an example of, and his arrogance needs to be pointed out as well. And you made a great comment. Where's the sorry? Where's the regret? Where's any of that? We're still seeing this guy, the sushi guy. Well, I'm doing something for you. There's no apology. There's no. It boggles my mind. I really hope he doesn't get a reduced sentence.
Well, I'm going to ring the bell. There's actually nothing for me to say. We all agree. So we'll move on.
What do you know?
It's a great day when that happens. Boring TV, but it's a great day.
Very true.
This next topic will get us fired up. I'm sure it will. Because multinational consumer goods company Unilever has announced that it will no longer use the word normal in packaging and advertising for beauty and personal care products. The conglomerate, which owns brands such as Dove, Rexona and Tresemme, has also committed to no longer digitally altering a person's body shape, size, proportions or skin colour, all as part of its efforts to end discrimination in beauty. Here's a small part of their ad campaign.
It's normal to be told what beautiful looks like. But is it normal? We say no. We won't accept a world where any of this is normal. So we're removing the word from our products and advertising to help build a more inclusive vision of beauty. Say no to normal. Say yes to positive beauty.
This comes after the company commissioned a study of 10,000 people, which found, amongst other things, that 7 in 10 people agree that the word normal on product packaging and advertising has a negative impact. And when narrowing it down to younger people in the 18 to 35 demographic, this rises to 80%. Ange, when was the word normal ever used on beauty products?
Oh my God, the story gives me a headache. It's like, it's used in terms of, for normal hair or, moisturizer for normal skin. What are they going to change that to? This facial cream is for those without oozing pustules. I mean, seriously,
I've got to say, can I say one thing? I actually thought I thought that ad was a razor campaign because all those women had hairy armpits. I thought that. No.
Oh, you can't say that now.
No,
I'm
in
sure
trouble
there's
for that
something
one.
to do with that.
The people of
I
planet
know.
Earth. It was a joke. Remember the jokes? That was one of them. Anyway.
So, I mean, this is the company Unilever that famously showed a black woman morphing into a white woman and said that African hair was dull and frizzy. And now they swing 180 degrees the other way. We're not going to be able to say anything soon, but these campaigns just don't work, okay? So, like, most of the people that they surveyed were offended. But even if it was offensive, I roll. What's wrong with a bit of bloody offence now and again? You know, almost every single comment that I've read following this bunch of woke twaddle from Unilever has people boycotting in droves. And it got me thinking, do you know what? If Unilever really wants to do right by the world, the right thing for society, about not using palm oil in your products or not doing business with Myanmar, there's a thought. Why don't you go for those sort of, real grassroots things first, and then you can try to do the, fake social messiah idiocy, because that's how they're reaching out to the next generation. But I just want to get off the planet now. I really do. It's so insane.
And Robbo, you just know this campaign was made by inner city Chardonnay drinking, like hippies who are just like nothing close to normal with their Botox and their, their eye peels and their skin pulled back. And they're saying, we need to be real. It's all about real and normal. Let's show normal people on the television. Great marketing campaign, darling. Yes, everyone will share this. We'll be loved. Oh, darling. Another bully. Do you think that's how it went down? Or have I been watching too much Ab Fab?
Well, that's what you meant by bolly. I thought he's having a stroke.
It's Stolly Bolly. Stolly Bolly, darling.
Sorry. Sorry. A couple of things here. I don't think there are any normal people in that ad. They're all still very pretty. There's no dad bods. There's no, women bods.
Robbo, that's not true. There are size 10s in there,
Oh, I'm so sorry. I mean, what a wonderful cross-section of the community. The other thing is Unilever has form in this department. So they came out a few years ago with a Dove ad that just said, we're all beautiful, all shapes and sizes. Now, Dove is obviously marketed to women. At the same time that this Unilever and their logo was there and Dove and, that stupid voiceover, we're for everyone, blah, 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 whatever. At the same time, if you then went to the next ad, it's a Lynx ad where the girls are in anything but a piece of fairy floss. Dental floss, parading around in a Lynx ad, and this is where you're hot.
I like the idea of the fairy floss. Two bits of fairy floss.
But it's just it's absolute bullshit. It's not. It is a fake campaign that people who are beautiful can go, yeah, like that's right. You normals can be part of us. True, it's great. It's such a load of shit. Like it's not real. It's so fake. They would have spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on this campaign. We've seen it before. They think that we forget. No. Now, look, normal. I agree with Ange. Normal to oily hair or normal to oily skin, fine. Maybe say typical, I don't care. But how about you start paying the people properly who make your products, in developing countries? How about like what you said, Ange, stop using palm oil? Actually make a difference as opposed to doing this great thing. They would have had some wanky launch. Guys, we're launching, you're all invited. We've got,
we're going to
organic
have
wines and organic
lined
food
up so you can see them. You can see what their horrors look like.
The normal people will be there, but they'll only be in a serving capacity, a capacity of below them. So they're the waiters, the chefs. There won't be any normal people in the crowd. Don't worry. You won't.
Watch how they eat the party pies.
Oh, look at them.
They absolutely eat them.
Look at that.
Anyway, I'm ringing the bell again because that, my friends, is 2 for 2. Never happened before. 2 topics in a row where all 3 of us have agreed. Wowzers, what a night. I think I'm going to buy a lottery ticket, Amanda. We'll get there, people. Hang in there. I'm sure there'll be a Barney soon enough. Well, maybe this one will do it. After dramatic scenes yesterday of Piers Morgan storming off the set of Good Morning Britain, Morgan has now left the show. He's been the co-presenter of the breakfast program for 6 years, and in a statement put out by ITV, they said, following discussions with ITV, Piers Morgan has decided now is the time to leave Good Morning Britain. ITV has accepted his decision and has nothing further to add. In case you somehow missed what we played last night, here's what went down.
I understand that you don't like Meghan Markle. You've made it so clear a number of times on this programme, a number of times. And I understand that you've got a personal relationship with Meghan Markle, or had one, and she cut you off. She's entitled to cut you off if she wants to. Has she said anything about you since she cut you off? I don't think she has, but yet you continue to trash her.
OK, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no.
Sorry. Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, mate, but not my own stuff.
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do this.
This is absolutely diabolical behaviour.
Now, look, it's important to note Morgan did actually return to the show 20 minutes later and they continued to do it. But it turns out that ITV were trying to force him to apologise to Meghan Markle even, and he refused to do so, and that prompted his resignation. Well, the response to Piers Morgan's leaving has been varied in the media. Actress Jamil tweeted, "Trigger warning, suicide. I almost killed myself a year ago because of Piers Morgan's relentless campaign of lies and hatred against me last February. I'm glad I'm still alive today for many reasons, but watching him leave Good Morning Britain today is right up there." Whereas Sharon Osbourne said, "Piers Morgan, I am with you. I stand by you. People forget that you're paid for your opinion and that you're just speaking your truth." His reporting of the interview with Oprah received 41,000 official complaints. And Good Morning Britain was rating terribly before Piers Morgan joined. He actually saved that show. We're a panel show. We talk about our opinions. Is there a danger now of hosts and panellists being too honest and too politically incorrect that if enough people disagree with us, the Twitter mob will make us lose our jobs?
So, here's the thing. I don't know if you know this, so I'm going to let you in on a massive industry secret. And it is that TV is full of hypocrites. But that includes Piers Morgan, because he's more than happy to fling his crap at anyone and everyone. But then the minute it's actually pointed out that he does that, which is his stock in trade and earns him gazillions to do it, he throws a massive mantrum and storms off.
Oh, it was stupid. Stupid.
Yeah. So, broadening out, though, there is a massive risk, I think, in any form of broadcast that's not read entirely off an auto cue and that requires opinion, which used to be actually a sackable offence at a couple of the networks where I've anchored. These days, your entire purpose, if you're on anything that requires a view, is to push the boat out somewhere. Yeah. It's this invisible line and nobody can tell you where it is. You'll only know when you cross it, and often that's too late. So, we did see that with people in this country, who were hard to be provocative, like Carrie Ann on Studio 10 and then Yumi Steins on The Circle, that, good Lord, ultimately killed the entire show, which was quite the achievement. But it is really a precarious thing being in any opinion-based show, particularly when you're on a traditional medium like TV. And depending on... So, of course, networks want some backlash, some of them a lot of backlash, because it still means that people are watching. They don't care whether, somebody's loved or hated. It's just whether they're watching. But then it can just go too far the other way in some network executives' exalted mind. And that's the end of it. But you don't know until you're on the other side of that line. And it's a risky thing. It really is.
Yeah, the line here seemed to be the fact that he, specifically, it came across that in relation to her mental health and the talk of self-harm, that he said he didn't believe anything she had to say. He clarified...
That's his view, though. He can say that.
Sorry? That's what I think. It is his view.
But yes. he can say, I don't believe her. Okay.
The problem is the mental health organisation started chiming in and saying, well, we want people to come out. You can't go and say that you don't believe them. I need to jump in. just for clarification, because I've been down this path with Yumi Steins, and her partner is very insistent that Yumi was not responsible for getting the circle axed, that it was a multitude of reasons, that she wasn't even held responsible. The comment wasn't from her about Corporal Ben Robert-Smith. It's a whole thing. So I just want to throw that in there because...
Well, maybe I don't believe him.
Well, I get a lot of blowback
and that's
on this
my
issue.
view.
I got a lot of history on this issue, so I'm just going to put out what the theory is, and I do understand that papers have printed that and it's turned litigious. So that is something they specifically want to set the record straight on, and that's what I'm doing here. So that's not our issue anyway, so I'm just putting that out there. We'll park that to the side. Robbo, so... ITV wanted him to apologise for a view that he had. Why should he have to do that when they employed him to have views that would drive audience share? And I'll give you another hit before you come in. That show is going to tank now. He was the sole reason that show went from like dismal place in the ratings to top of the ratings. You take the heart of a show out and everyone starts to think they're all the ones who make it. No, it was Piers Morgan, love him or loathe him, that made that show. You watch the ratings plummet now.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I think that they actually had a good report. I think it's Susanna, I think is his co-host. She would obviously do a lot of this kind of thing going... It worked, though, for them.
Absolutely.
And I think perhaps she knew what you're talking about, Rob, that she obviously has to maintain her own kind of opinions and can't just, be a yes lady to Piers Morgan. But I also think that she wasn't as completely competitive to him that she could have possibly been, or someone else would have been. This annoys me for so many reasons. As you say, and as we've all said tonight, he was hired because he's Piers Morgan. It wasn't like he was an untested talent. He comes on the show and, oh, bloody hell, Jesus, he's a bit opinionated, or he's got really strong views. We knew who Piers Morgan, was all that time. And I think that that's what Sharon Osbourne was also kind of hinting at. He was hired to be Piers Morgan. You can't, hire a media personality who has a brand, I hate saying that, and then go, The other thing is this. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. And I think that really applies to Piers Morgan. Those kind of people will always have an abrupt end. Darren Hinch, Stan Zemanek, Alan Jones. When you're employed to do a certain thing like that, there'll always be an abrupt expiry date and you're done. And that's just, that comes, I think, part and parcel in being the Piers Morgan of the world. It's annoying when it happens. Some people will be very happy, as they were with Alan Jones. Other people were unhappy. The same with Darren Hinch. All of those kind of things. But that's what happens when you're that kind of personality. And this was his time. He started in 2015 as a permanent but only 3 day a week. He was then obviously bumped up when the ratings went well. But, he survived, 5 and almost 6 years, really. And it's just the way that happens for people like that.
Yeah, well, there was a farewell message today, this afternoon our time, morning Britain time, where they started the show, and the message from that co-host we're talking about, I really got the feeling
Susanna Reid.
Miss him. She was not going to miss him, and that'll be interesting to see.
They were fairly combative, as it happens.
Yeah. There were tensions behind the scenes. All right, let's move on.
Differences.
Well, if you thought you had heard the last of him, you were sorely mistaken. Peter Evans is back, and he's made his social media comeback after his page with nearly 1.5 million followers was banned from Facebook in December last year. With his new political page, Pete Evans Senate Great Australian Party, it sounds like it's from another language, many were left wondering how this ban had been revoked. And Pete Evans Senate Great Australian Party, doesn't it?
Oh, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that big time. Oh, wow.
Look,
you get cancelled for that kind of stuff.
He may have been able to launch this page on a technicality. Facebook's policy is that they prohibit people from creating new pages that are similar to the ones that were removed for violating the rules. It's been decided that his new political page is different enough to pass. Oh, Robbo, he is the man cancer culture cannot get rid of. Do you have a problem with Facebook allowing this page?
Guys, what we've all got to remember is Facebook is not there for us. I think there was an advertising campaign that happened a while ago where it's all about you from Facebook. You know, we're here to connect people. No. They're here for money. Like they are a absolute corporate behemoth. That, you know, they're as bad as coal miners and you know, things like that. They don't care. So on this ridiculously loose, floppy kind of technicality, oh, well, he's not saying the same things that he did on his other page. Well, not yet. And he will. 'Cause do you think that he's changed automatically? Like, that kind of person doesn't change their opinions because Facebook went, you can't have a page. Oh, my God, again, hallelujah. I don't believe in any of that stuff anymore. Vaccinate your kids, you know, COVID is real. What a load of crap.
But
Facebook is evil. Except if you're listening, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes,
we love you.
And if you're watching our show on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, don't boycott it. Don't boycott it because you'll miss the show. So, yeah, I mean, in your head, like, say that you don't like Facebook, but don't cancel your profile because then you won't be able to watch this.
Although they can watch us on Twitch and Twitter and YouTube. Hey, Robert, I want to challenge you on that because what I would say is that he was banned because of those controversial remarks about COVID and the neo-Nazi thing. But if he doesn't sprout those views here, he is launching a political party. He's making a run for Parliament. I actually think he should be allowed to have his Facebook page as long as he doesn't go down that path again. If he starts saying coronavirus is a hoax, then ban, good night, goodbye.
Do you actually think that he's changed his platform? So
no, I don't.
It's come from... So, but obviously they're going to be his policies. His policies of, well, COVID isn't real, we need to stand up for it. Anti-vaxxers, you know, we should be not vaccinating our kids. You know, eat bone broth. They're not going to change, Rob. So it's a matter of time, though, for this to sprout. That is his platform. His platform is all of those things that he's been very vocal about. We just have to wait. The moment I believe a federal election is called, it will kick into gear and he will be spouting his stuff like he did before.
But he will be deplatformed again. So
that's what will happen.
What he's got to work out, Ange, is how far he pushes the envelope.
I missed that, sorry, because I was talking over you.
I said Pete Evans has to work out how far he pushes the envelope.
He doesn't, though. He never works it out. He just gets banned. You know, and now Facebook's saying, oh, it's all good, it's fine, because, you know, the new page will be different. It won't be different at all. It'll be exactly the same, except it'll have politics thrown in. And how much worse would you like it to get? I mean, that's the only way that I can think of that it gets any worse than it already has. But, you know, of course, there's the whole freedom of speech thing, blah, 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 and about how our, you know, grandfathers fought and died for the freedoms that we now enjoy, of course, and that's a privilege. But I'm pretty sure that our grandfathers wouldn't want some fool abusing it to the point of endangering society with these lies that sadly many people do believe. And, you know, at the time when Facebook axed him, I was like, so they're just going to let him back on in 5 minutes because, you know, at the moment they just can't make up their minds what the hell they're doing these days. Yeah, they'll cancel him again eventually. They will, because Pete Evans will do what Pete Evans always does. And that's the way that it will go.
Society. We live in a free society, and
we do, but not when people are endangering other people.
100%, 100%, which is why he was deplatformed. But we've got to assume look, I don't like the guy. I don't support the guy, but I do believe in free speech. And if he goes down that path of potentially harming lives, Ange, kick him off. But he is running a political party, and parties deserve a platform to tell what they stand for so the voters know. I just believe in free speech.
But it's not a right, though, on Facebook, I don't think.
No, of course.
It's not a right for you to be able to have a political party and say, well, just because I'm a political party, I deserve to be on Facebook. Rob, you talked about pushing the envelope, which I understand what you're saying. The moment he opens his mouth, the envelope is off the table, down the road and in the river. He doesn't seem to have any kind of knowing where the line is, because the moment he speaks, the line is crossed. Now, that's the problem with him. Yes, I believe in free speech as well, but we're in a new age where free speech used to be, if you didn't want to listen to someone on a soapbox, you kept walking. And then later on it became, a radio show where if you didn't want it, you switch it off. Social media is far more powerful, reaches more people and can reach them at any time. I think we all have a responsibility then to identify the Pete Evans of the world. Now, he can still run for Parliament. We're a free country. We're a democracy. Anyone can run. That's fine. I just don't know that you deserve or have the right to a platform like Facebook, especially when you've proven what your behaviour is in the past.
Yeah, look, I think that's a fair point. I think it's a
and
tough
will be
call.
in the future.
Yeah, look. Let's be honest. We all know he's going to be taken off again. He'll do something. Hey, look, I need to move on. As I mentioned earlier, I appeared on Today Extra. It's going great.
Did you? What?
Rob was doing
Did
his
you?
thing. So,
You haven't mentioned this.
No, not at all.
What's happening here? This is a shock to me. Oh, God, please go.
well, Robbo, I've got to say...
Teasing.
I felt like the segment was going great. It was a two-parter. We'd done the first one. I felt like I'd made some really good points in my hot topics. And then I told this story.
I don't know if I'm allowed to tell this story. My wife really had me believing for like the first 5 years we were together that she didn't fluff. Like I'd never heard it. I'd never smelt it. And we're going down a really classy path here, I know. But one morning we were in bed and all of a sudden it was so big, the doona actually flapped off the bed. It was such a big one.
Hell of a conversation coming up.
There's some hyperbole to this. I don't believe it.
Let us save you from yourself, Rob McKnight.
She's not watching. I'm not going to show her this tape.
No. She's watching.
Mrs. McKnight has left the building.
Watching.
Look, for a bit of context, there is context. You're not here with her. That we were discussing. We were discussing Married at First Sight and the intimacy challenges, and I made the point that forget what they're doing intimacy-wise. Fluffing in front of your partner is the ultimate.
Oh, stop
test
saying
of
that
intimacy.
word. It's a trigger. I don't like that word because it reminds me of like when someone says that word, I just think of someone's bum, and then it's cotton balls that are coloured grey that kind of just bounce around.
What?
I've had this idea ever since I was a kid. I hate that word. It makes me feel really uncomfortable. Sorry, back to Amanda.
Let me ask you. Let's say, so Amanda was out at the time when I did that live cross, thankfully. She came home and she's like, how'd your cross go? And it went great, got lots of laughs, told good, I said, but...
Literally.
and I told her what I said. It went down a tree. She was very, very happy.
I'm suing for defamation.
Is it ever okay to use your partner as fodder to get a laugh, whether it's in a group of people or on national television? Is that okay?
Well, before we get into that, I just want to say, first of all, Amanda, babe, everybody fluffs. Be proud of it. Own it.
She had me believing for 5 years that she didn't, Ange. For 5 years. I actually thought maybe she's not human.
That's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
He's the idiot who believed her. Oh, my God.
No, seriously. Because I was like, you must fluff. And she's like, I don't.
Oh.
And I never smelt it. She never dealt it.
She did, just not around you. So I think it's perfectly fine. That's the stuff that audiences love. But you just have to sort of balance how big a laugh you'll get with how much of an arse kicking you'll get when you walk through the door. I mean, are you not risking Amanda's fiery wrath by broadcasting it all over again now?
Oh, yeah. No. I did ask permission. I figured I was already in enough trouble. I said, I think we should do this as a topic.
In for a penny, in for a pound. Yep, absolutely.
You know what I'm like. So, Robbo, what do you think are all bets off when it comes to trying to get a laugh?
I'll tell you what happens right now. I mean, I've got a problem with gas. So literally every time I go to work, there'll be a point in the day where And it happened today. I'm going to be honest about it. If Amanda's out there, I'm going to be out there with her in solidarity. I had to go and sit in my car and make it into what is essentially a Dutch oven because I can't park in the office. And it was really painful. It was really awful. And there was a person who arrived and they kind of waved and thought, why is he in his... So I pretended to be on the phone. So I went, yeah. But if you looked closely at the driver's seat, every so often there'd be a slight ankle while I was, and then walked back into the office. So look, I understand.
And a strange
how you did it for 5 years. I don't know.
Tinge.
Oh
no!
You wouldn't want to be in that car. We're going down this road. When I left work, it had been out in the sun. It was the word you describe is thick. When I opened the door, the air in there was certainly had a gravitas to it. Pungent. I'll now remember just to clock a window when I've got my workplace partners. So, yeah. There you go.
That's great.
True story. True.
I'm not sure you answered the topic question.
Before we move on, Robbo, when I was at Studio 10, people were in and out of my office all day. Could never fart in there.
All the time.
Could never do that because
we would go in there.
No
we'd
privacy.
Open the door. No. We'd open the door. Have you seen Casper the movie? Wonderful movie with Christina Ricci. We'd open the door and then a ghost would go, freaking hell.
No, I'm not copying that.
And then you'd say, come in. And I'd say, oh, no, I've forgotten what I had to talk to you about. I'll come back in a minute. I'm just going to leave this open a little bit, a bit close in here. And then you'd come back in 5 minutes. But,
I'm totally not copying that. Not having it. Hey, look, Bruno's just around the corner and Jason's over. We're going overtime today, let's be honest, everyone. So get set. We never know what's going to happen with Bruno. But first of all, let's get the news headlines with Ange.
Indeed, let us do that straight away on this Wednesday, the 10th of March, 2021. 3 men have been arrested over their alleged involvement in the importation of meth and cocaine hidden in lollies from the US. And the Australian Border Force bust happened last November, with officers finding a further 16 parcels over the course of 5 months. The drugs, packaged as lollipops and various other sweets, had an estimated street value of over $3.5 million. Police say the sophisticated disguise of the narcotics could have easily been mistaken for candy by adults and kids, adding the drugs were uncut and potent enough to cause serious injury or death. The investigation continues. Department of Health Secretary Brendan Murphy has signalled Australia is still a long way off its target of vaccinating 4 million people by early April. The country has now surpassed 100,000 vaccines since the rollout began more than 2 weeks ago. The federal government said it aimed to initially start vaccinating 80,000 people a week. Professor Murphy said today, Australia to have everyone vaccinated by the end of October, highlighting that we can afford to take our time because we are not like the UK or the USA, where people are in hospitals dying from COVID. New South Wales Health Officer Dr. Kerry Chant has been named the State Premier's Woman of the Year, the highest honour in the New South Wales Women of the Year Awards. Dr. Chant, who has overseen the management of the coronavirus pandemic in the nation's most populous state, was recognised for her tireless work in keeping the community safe. Premier Gladys Berejiklian lauded the state's longest-serving Chief Health Officer as a role model who has excelled in her chosen field. Following the ceremony, the pair topped off the festivities by going for a COVID shot. And no, that's not a drink. A war veteran has been left devastated after his dog was allegedly stolen as he was taking him for a walk in inner Sydney. 78-year-old Brett Lewis was walking his Jack Russell Murray home from the supermarket one afternoon when a man driving a white SUV pulled up in front of him, with the driver reportedly snatching the dog and speeding off. Pet detectives are now on what's being called a brazen case. And after an iconic 430-game career with the NRL, Cameron Smith has retired from rugby league. A long-running saga over Smith's future came to an end today, with the Melbourne Storm confirming the news and Smith admitting he'd wrestled with the decision ever since winning last year's grand final with Melbourne. Smith added that while he felt his form was still good enough to compete at the top level, spending quality time with his family in Queensland was what convinced him the time was right to end his playing days. The Queensland and Melbourne captain has floated the idea of a move into media as his next challenge.
The next
phase, next chapter of my life. Hopefully that it'll involve rugby league in some capacity. But the most important thing for me is that I get to enjoy quality time with my wife and my 3 children.
Getting a check now of tomorrow's weather. Partly cloudy for Cairns and 31. Showers for Brisbane and 28. Showers as well for Sydney and 27. Canberra, a shower or 2 developing and 24. A partly cloudy day for Melbourne and 24. Hobart will be mostly sunny at 22. The sun will be out in Adelaide and 28. Perth, partly cloudy and 37. A possible shower or storm for Alice Springs hitting 36. And showers as well as a possible storm for Darwin and 32. Now, I feel like it has been an inordinately long time since I've seen the beautiful Jason Rose's face. I need to do that right now.
Oh, and it's been so long, and coming up in my must-watch entertainment report, a fitting farewell for music legend Michael Gudinski as Australia's biggest musicians paid tribute to the man who kept Aussie music alive. Studio 10's Sarah Harris reveals what happened next when Samantha Armitage announced she was leaving Sunrise, and Hollywood star Zac Efron is bringing Tinseltown to Australia, and I've got the inside scoop on where Zac Efron will be shooting and what movie it's for. The entertainment report is about 15 minutes away, right after we go down the rabbit hole with Bruno, and it is often a very, very, very long rabbit hole. As long as he does it shirtless, I'm okay to watch. Here's to Robbo. So basically, I'll be on at about 12 a.m. See you all then.
Sorry, I'm just making sure that this throw is ended. That went for longer than you bloody teased.
That was longer than Bruno's segment.
Yeah, that's long.
It was.
Well,
I don't know. Sorry, Jason's taken up all the time.
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
well, we've got
I
no
don't
time
have
for
a
all
lot of
this,
time
Dave.
when Bruno's on. I've got to use all the airtime I can get when Bruno's on.
We'll go into overtime. It's fine.
Cut his mic right now. Bye, Jason. Great to have you back. See you, buddy. Yeah.
Your command.
Yes, we will see Jason Roses in just a moment. But for now, let's have a look at what happened on this day, March 10th, throughout history. It was on this day, my favourite musical of all time, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, started a 45-show run at the Belasco Theatre in New York. It was the same year the movie was released, starring Tim Curry and Susan Sarandon, and if I had $1 for every time I dressed up as one of those people, I would be rich. Buffy the Vampire Slayer premiered on this day in 1997, starring Sarah Michelle Gellar, and it ran for 7 seasons. Recently, it's been back in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. The creator, Joss Whedon, was allegedly a bit of, well, an industry term, a shit on sets. And full disclosure, I've never seen a singular episode and have no interest. And finally, it was on this day in 1981, the world first heard Betty Davis Eyes by Kim Carnes. It went on to sell millions of copies worldwide, and it was the Billboard Song of the Year. Back to you, Bobby.
Thank you very much.
Sorry,
Well,
just really quickly. Sorry, just before you go on. I heard a noise. Is Amanda on mic? Because I'm sure I heard some kind of fart or something. Was that a
Wasn't me.
I'm sure I smelled something.
Yeah, like that's how
all
bad
the way
she
over there in
is.
Victoria.
At least you guys are in a different state or different area.
Oh, man, oh, jeepers.
Well, we've been talking about him all night. It's our favourite Wednesday segment. It's time to go down the rabbit hole with Bruno. Bruno, welcome, my friend. It's good to see you again.
Hey, gang. Good evening. How's everyone going?
Mate, we are fine.
Good, how are
and
you?
dandy. What about you? What have you got for us tonight?
So what I'm keen on doing, and look, I don't really get into politics that often. I used to think politics was fantastic. As a kid, I was in the Young Liberals, and then, I covered politics in Queensland Parliament. And I mean, recently I flip-flop a bit. I've voted Labor for the past 3 federal elections, to be honest with you. So I guess what I'm saying is when it comes to politics, I don't really have an agenda. I just kind of go issue by issue. And there was one particular issue that I wanted to raise with you guys, and I'll cut to the chase and then I'll get into how I came up with this. But I'm absolutely convinced that the Prime Minister should be paid $65 million a year.
What?
Yeah. I've done some... Let me explain it to you. So essentially, let's start off with a company as big as, say, Apple, okay? And we look at what their CEO, Tim Cook, is making. And so for a company that generates $356 billion, he makes $20 million, right? So the remuneration to revenue ratio, 0.005%, right? That's pretty good, okay? That makes sense. So why don't we then look at Australia and what Scott Morrison gets? You know, if we were to treat it as a company, Australia's GDP, $1.3 trillion, he makes a cool $549,000 a year. And you'll notice that there's a lot more zeros between that 4 on that remuneration to revenue ratio. So let's put these two gentlemen side by side so that we can just really, I can ram in the point. Scott Morrison there. Hang on. Do I have the right slide? I don't have the right slide. That's okay. Anyway, there we go. That's the right slide. See, Scott Morrison, 549. Tim Cook, 20. Now, if we go to that other slide where I use the same metric. See, I use that metric of 0.005. Scott Morrison should be making $65 million a year. What do you guys think? Am I right or am I wrong?
Hey, Bruno. Yeah. I feel bad about saying this while you're coming to us live from your bedroom, which, side note, I am adoring.
I think Bruno's having a cheeky night out. We'll get to this, don't worry.
No, listen, here's my thought, right? For a country, sorry, did I talk all over you?
No, what did you call the Prime Minister?
You can do whatever you want all over me in that scene behind you. I don't care, Bruno. Sorry. But yes, what were you saying? Lord. Sorry, Bruno. Sorry. That just came out. I'm so sorry. Look, surely Scott Morrison doesn't deserve $65 million.
Well, look, whether it's Scott Morrison or whether it's somebody else that wants to go for the PM role, I think that we should be paying the Prime Minister more than any CEO in the country so that we attract the highest quality of candidates to the job. Like, look, I don't want to sound too bitchy, but Scott Morrison's history, right, like the jobs that he's done in the past, I wouldn't necessarily say that he's the highest of achievers in this country, right? Like he did okay. I think he got dropped from his tourism gig that he had, and he came up with "How the bloody hell are you?" I mean, wow, that was fantastic.
No, that was actually
ingenious.
Yeah, it was genius. My thought is, if all of a sudden it's announced that, well, $65 million a year will be given to the Prime Minister of this great country, you will attract some real geniuses and they'll be fairly recompensed for their time, because $500,000 for such a huge responsibility just doesn't cut it. Like, don't you think that your wage should be in step with the amount of responsibility that you have? And certainly when there's figures involved, like dollars and cents, how much your company or country makes. So it should all be the same ratio as a major company. So $65 million is fair for Scott Morrison.
Here's the thing, Bruno, in a moment of seriousness, I do think...
I've been serious this whole time.
I know.
I can tell. I almost didn't recognise you.
It's scaring the bejesus out of me. I'm actually now praying. Look at me. What I would say, Bruno, is I do think the PM deserves more money. I think we underpay the Prime Minister of the country. This is why we don't get high-quality candidates like CEOs and people like that. There is a big difference between the GDP and a consumer business in what they earn. So I don't think your figures are comparable on that measure, but I do think...
I'll meet you halfway. Scott Morrison, $30 million a year.
You know, it is outrageous, but I'd actually be open to it if it brought new people into the role.
Yeah, and if it was incentivized so that the salary is based on performance. So, you know, it could very well happen that 1 year the Prime Minister could make $0 or they could make $100 million. It's all tied to the performance of the country. And then you would get some real geniuses going for the role.
They'd never be here in order to see the performance of the country because they'd constantly be on their private plane in Saint-Tropez.
That's a very good point. Maybe they get all the money. Maybe they get all the money once they retire. That's a very good point. That bit I've got to figure out, because you're right. Turning up to Parliament House in a solid gold Rolls Royce might be a little bit on the nose.
Oh my God, that's what we'd get if Kyle was the PM.
Yeah, I know, right?
I would vote for that
Now,
in
Bruno,
a second.
You've said your serious piece. Great. Good. People are talking about it. Fantastic. Park that to the side. Are you having a cheeky night away? Are you at a hotel?
Oh no, this is my bedroom. My wife and I sleep in separate bedrooms. It's just easier that way, don't you guys think? Or are you guys big on the marital?
Do you really sleep in
Bruno,
does she have a problem like Amanda
she's
does?
a bit touchy. Oh, she farts.
Look,
yeah, sorry.
Look, my thing is, right, with the bedroom, if I'm next to someone in bed, I'm banging them, right? And so, you know, hey, sorry, you know, I guess it's one of those things where we have separate bedrooms and that works well. And like when we want to hang out, we hang out. But it's nice having my own space. Look, I've got a plant up there. Like, you know, that's pretty cool. I've got my water bottle there. Like, what a great bedroom. I feel like I'm doing MTV Cribs.
But how do you decide, though, you've just had a baby, and Bruno, I assume it's yours. So how do you then work out that special time?
When do I work it out? I don't know. Normally on a Saturday morning.
When she agrees.
Do you say, can we have a sleepover, darling?
Yeah, when I've performed all my duties around the house, then, you know, I'm like,
good man.
Reward. Yeah.
Well, Bruno, I think next week we actually need to explore this more in depth and the pros and cons to having separate rooms for spouses. I
think it's fantastic.
Yeah, let's do it.
I have another friend who did the exact same thing.
I think
she talks about it. Amanda Howard, when her husband was alive, used to sleep in a separate bedroom to her husband. But, you know, there weren't any problems in their relationship. They just slept differently and, you know,
it's better.
Well,
and the quality.
I've got friends who do that.
Yeah. I'm keen to discuss this because the quality of sleep when you sleep on your own is fantastic. You wake up rejuvenated, you've slept well, but you wake up, you've got to sleep next to someone else. They're sweaty,
we're going to talk about
and in your case,
week.
Rob, they fart. And it's just like,
fine.
Bruno, we are I would really like to do this as our topic next week. I want to explore this a bit more. All right.
Good. And everyone, make sure that you agree to pay the Prime Minister $65 million.
We'll get some feedback. Thank you, Bruno. We'll see you next week.
Sure.
My friend.
Thanks, Bruno.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
It's the Red Light Shot of the Day. Where are you going today? You never know where you'll end up with the Red Light Shot of the Day.
Today we're taking you to the canal of Cannaregio and Gugli Beach Bridge in Venice. They are near the beginning of a bit of a mild day, overcast with a top of 11 and a bottom of 5. If you'd like to be a gondola in the beautiful canal, it's actually a very tricky gig to get. It is one of the most sought after jobs in Venice, with only 425 licenses issued. You must be Venetian by birth and undergo 400 hours of training. I thought Venetians were blinds, so I'm really learning a lot during this program. So that's fantastic.
Oh, Robbo, can I tell you one quick joke?
Yes?
A nun is having a bath.
I knew what you were going to say. I knew it.
A nun is having a bath. A man knocks on the door, and she goes, "Who is it?" And he says, "It's the blind man." And she says, "Oh, okay, come on in." And he says, "Nice tits. Where do you want the blinds?"
Love it. Love it. That's my dad's joke.
That's wonderful.
Feedback.
Wonderful. All right, on to feedback now, and please feel free to give feedback on that joke while we're on air. Justine says, "Robert, please to God say something good about Dad tonight. You don't have to hear the bitching and whinging." Well, no. I had a wonderful time with Ma and Pa McKnight on our road trip last year. Big
That's
shout out
not
to
Mickey
them.
Bloody Mouse.
Yeah, but you look, we talked about it on the OB. Yes, of course, I wish that I was your son too and you could do an exchange. We can't do that, so we've just got to put up with Chip Butty in the middle here. Anyway, let's get back to feedback.
On to the Chip Buddies, and for that, I will be forever grateful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Papa McKnight. Big Brother Oz says, yes, I fully agree with Ange. Actions speak louder than words. Very good comment there. Also,
sure
tonight
do.
on feedback, Claire says, if my grandfather was alive, he'd call Pete Evans a damn fool.
A damn fool.
I call him the same thing, but I changed the last 3 letters on the end of that F word. Big Brother says, Rob's in the doghouse tonight, lol. I believe Cinta is also pretty gassy, so I don't know that that's going to be a great exchange there. Sorry, man, I'm going to stop the farting jokes now. Jason Turner says, and the Nobel Prize for Genuine Genius is Amanda McKnight. What? I don't know what she did apart from that.
She hid her farts for 5 years.
Yeah, right. Oh, right. I even promised that I wasn't going to make another joke, so I was a bit lost there. Also, Jeanette says, my parents have separate bedrooms so they can get better sleep. But thank God, Jeanette, they didn't have separate bedrooms a few years ago. Otherwise, you wouldn't be with us. A very big shout out to you, Jeanette. You wonderful.
That's deep. That is so profound.
That's right. That's what we do here. If you want to share your feedback, you can find us across all your social medias. Just head to The ARR Show on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube, or Ange Rob Robbo on Twitch, Instagram, TikTok and OnlyFans. Rob, back to you.
Whose turn is it to do OnlyFans tonight? It's mine again.
No, you keep putting your hand up. None of us have had a turn yet.
I've got to do something after the show.
Let's go to Jason Roses.
It's time to bring him back. We welcome with lots of love our good friend Jason Roses. Jason, you've returned to the fold. Welcome back, my friend.
Hello, yes, welcome. I just had a few days off, but I'm feeling refreshed now, Rob.
Oh, was that his name? Refreshed. That's an unusual name.
I
was going to make a Mardi Gras joke too.
Oh my God.
No, I didn't go to Mardi Gras. I wish I did. I had friends of mine that were there and they didn't even invite me. Very disappointed. But anyway, I'm back.
Fabulous. Now, look, we need to get serious for a moment because last week we lost a great Australian man who did so much for the music industry. Today, family and friends said goodbye to Michael Gudinski.
Yeah, Robert, a private funeral was held in Melbourne for the music legend Michael Gudinski. It was held at Ormond Hall, which was Gudinski's first stage live music show there in the 70s. Now, 360 people attended and a lot of Australian celebrities. It included Jimmy Barnes, Molly Meldrum, Kylie and Danny Minogue, Sam Neill and Shane Warne. The service went for 2 hours and many of the people who attended, they had worked with Michael. He launched some of their careers, many of their careers, and he was remembered as an absolute legend and someone with a larger-than-life personality. Now, there is going to be a state memorial, and that's going to be held at Rod Laver Arena on Wednesday, March 24th. But just take a look at some of the footage from that funeral today.
Forming a black T-shirted Guard of Honour, the MG crew, 170 strong, those normally behind the scenes who'd made sure the shows always went on. Today, they were front of house, giving a standing ovation for the final encore.
I mean, just seeing, you know, the size of that crowd and the amount of support, he certainly is. It's a very sad loss for the Australian music industry, but a legend of music was aptly farewelled today. So I certainly say to Michael and to his family, my condolences, but, you know, he was farewelled certainly in a way befitting of someone who introduced music, you know, Australian music to the global stage.
Absolutely, Jason. What an absolute legend. Thank you very much for that. Now, let's talk about morning shows now, or breakfast shows rather. Sam Armitage has, of course, announced her retirement on Monday, but there was one TV host that was on everyone's lips that could be the replacement. And just for mine, I've got to say it now, I really hoped for this particular person, but what can you tell us?
Robbo, the rumours are that it's me that's going to... No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, fantastic.
You're going to do double shifts. Sunrise and
That's right.
Rob and Robbo show.
That was a joke. No, Sarah Harris from Studio 10. Now, she was actually missing in action for a few days, and people thought she might have been leaving the program, but she quickly cleared up these rumours, and this is what she had to actually say.
What are you doing here?
Hello.
I thought you were gone.
Welcome back. And then I woke up to my phone blowing up on Monday, but no, I'm here. The cash cow can't do the cha-cha.
So no, it wasn't, but as revealed by TV Black Box by our very own Rob McKnight, we in fact know, and I want to ask Rob how much he knows, but apparently Nat Barr. Seven are yet to confirm the appointment, but there are, of course, other names thrown in the mix, Edwina Bartholomew and Monique Wright. But, Rob, you reckon it's Nat Barr? Time will tell.
No, I'm telling you. I love the media speculation when right after Sam's announcement, I put a story up saying that it is Natalie Barr that will be taking over, and that was reported and picked up on. But unfortunately, it spoiled the game for everyone else, and they still want to talk about the fact that it could be Sarah Harris or Edwina Bartholomew. But as I've quite clearly said, it is absolutely Natalie Barr. And what I was told by sources at Seven was it would have to be something quite dramatic for it not to be Natalie Barr. I guess.
I love Natalie Barr.
Yeah, she's fantastic. And I guess she could turn it down, I suppose. But at the end of the day, that would be very surprising. It is one of the most coveted roles on television, so I don't think she'd be turning it down. But I would say that they may not be announcing it tomorrow, but they will be announcing that it's Natalie Barr taking up the chair, who has obviously worked so well with Koshi. She's filled in for Sam. And you've got to remember, if you even don't want to trust my sources, use logic. Sunrise and Seven have been so good at transitioning into the next person. When they were, I was about to say, moving Mel on, when Mel moved on, they kept having Sam fill in for Mel. Well, who's been filling in for Sam every time she's away? None other than Natalie Barr. So, when I tell you it's Natalie Barr, you can bet the house that it's Natalie Barr. Oh, actually, can I bet on sports bet? Are they taking those off?
Rob, just really quickly. Rob, I can't let this go. Who will she be sitting next to? What's the name of that guy?
David Kosh.
Oh.
Yeah, but what's his nickname?
Koshi.
Oh, Koshi, not Kochi. Oh, okay. You just called him Kochi then.
Did I? No.
When he was sitting next to Kochi.
Absolutely did not.
I laughed, and I always confirm with our producer, Abby Mickelson, down there. And when I heard, I went, and then she's like...
Maybe I should or something. I have never called him Kochi ever. I know it's Kochi.
I missed it. How did I miss that? I love picking Rob up on his mispronunciations. It's my favourite
Every day I feel like I'm trying to impress the headmistress with my pronunciation, and I get it all right. I get C minuses every night.
Must try harder. Jace, you know, I love talking about Zac Efron, and looking at him is one of my favourite things to do. So he's about to pay tribute to Australia in a big way, the country he now calls home.
Oh, can I just say he's an absolute spunk, and I hope one day I get to meet him in Byron Bay. But he is filming season 2 of Down to Earth here in Australia. Now, take a look at the photos he posted on the Instagram. Him performing a welcome to country ceremony led by an Indigenous Australian elder with the caption, "Here we go, Down to Earth season 2. Now, season 1, if you didn't catch it on Netflix, it was a big hit. And it shows Zac and his friends traveling around the world to places like France, Puerto Rico, Iceland and Costa Rica, and they basically explore the ways of living, the cultures, of the customs of the country. So apparently season 2 will premiere on Netflix in 2022. I reckon him and his friends should come down to Canberra. I'll show them a great time. We'll go to Lake Burley Griffin. We'll go on a go boat. And Zach, you can stay in my house on my spare bed.
What? Not on the spare bed.
I'm sure
Who
Zac
believes
Efron
that?
is going to give up his multi-million-dollar house in Byron Bay to come and slum it with you, Jason. No, good on you. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, Jason. Disney Plus, which I think is a fabulous service, has reached a pretty huge milestone.
It's massive. Like, they have now reached 100 million subscribers. So to give you an indication, they've only been operating for 16 months, and that's already half of Netflix numbers. And obviously the shows like The Mandalorian and WandaVision have been thought to contribute to the success, as well as Hamilton. But 100 million is just an astronomical number. And certainly with the recently launched Star category for more of an adult demographic as well. But good on Disney. I've always loved Disney. The fact that they've got half of Netflix viewers, it's massive. It's huge. It just goes to show everybody loves Disney.
And it's brilliant. I think that the best thing that they ever did was, and look, Rob, you would have known, but that Star edition is just brilliant. So when it was launched, people were saying things like, was Family Guy going to be on the streaming service? The CEO said, look, no, that's not happening. Like, you know, we understand we own that, but we're going to keep Disney Plus. And this was way back before we knew about Star. And I always thought, oh, wow, there's so much stuff that you're not going to put on there. I mean, the mouse knows. I mean, he knows what he's doing, and Star is absolutely fantastic. I've got to tell you really quickly, I've cancelled my Netflix subscription because of Disney Plus.
Oh,
like, it's an absolute backup. Yeah. I'd rather spend money on Disney Plus than Netflix.
I'll give you my password.
Oh, don't say that. You're not allowed to do that.
Hey guys, sorry, just really quickly. Sorry. Wait. I know we're on air, but Amanda, can you just put us on a two-shot here, guys? Off you shoot. Have a good night. Thanks for joining. Do you want to Netflix and chill? Is that what you're saying, Jason? You're inviting me to that?
Well, for me, Netflix and chill is just like a bowl of popcorn and a glass of wine. I don't know what it means for you, though, Robbo.
Oh no,
That's
it means
not what
that.
Netflix and chill means.
No, it does. No, but it means that for
That's
that, and then I'll
literally it.
sleep in the spare bedroom. That's all I want.
Was it Malcolm?
With Zac Efron.
And was it Malcolm Turnbull who said he did Netflix and chill and he didn't actually know what it meant?
Oh my God.
Can I just say,
that's great. That's fantastic.
For ages, I didn't know what Netflix and chill meant, and then until later, I would say to all my friends, even my mum, I'm like, come and Netflix and chill at my house.
Ew. And
then
your
I found
mum
out what
went,
it meant.
You disgusting little boy.
I know.
She knew. Hey, Jason, it really is good to have you back. What a great show it's been. We've agreed on some topics. We've had Bruno in the house. We've talked about everything. We've had Jason here. Guys, I'm just in love with you.
The family's back.
And sorry?
Oh, yay!
The family's back, the OGs.
The family is back together. Sorry, the word family, I didn't understand it. All right, we will see you tomorrow for another big edition of the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show with Jason Roses.
I've got to stop you. No, I've got to stop you for a minute. I feel like I've got something. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's the Amanda. No, sorry. Whatever Amanda ate. I'm so sorry.
Bye.
Rob and Robbo Show.